Greetings, WordPressers. Jakson here. How are you? Welcome to the channel once again. Nice to have you, as always. So I made a little very short video last month about how to create smooth scrolling effects in a WordPress website, and it is a very simple thing. You can check out how that works in the card above me, linked in the description below. But Casper in the comments mentioned, by the way, is there also such a simple solution to add the snap scroll effect with CSS? Well, let me tell you, yes there is, and especially for you, Casper, in this WordPress tutorial, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So, CSS scroll snapping for your WordPress website. Right, let's get snapping. We've got a little site here. You can see that we've got like a header and then these sections that we want, rather than it being sort of scrolly, we want it to be snappy. So it snaps to each section as we scroll. Let's have a look at our admin. We've got basic starter theme here. Link is in the card to find out all about that, and link is in the description to download it. And we've got some pages. Yes, we have. We've got one page. It's the home page, and you see that we've got these 4 covers that make up our page, as we saw on the front end. Thing to be noted on these covers, open up the info, you see they're all set to full height. They're full height of the browser window, which is kind of like the normal use case for this kind of CSS snap implementation. If we have a look at what that looks like, you see on our cover block here, down the bottom, we've got our minimum height of cover, 100 VH. That means 100% vertical height, the exact height of the browser window. So when you scroll through them, they're all the same size, which is kind of groovy. If we untick that, you can see that changes to, empty, which means the default size of the WordPress cover block. And if we sort of move that, you can see it changing there. But we want it full height. Oh, yes, we do. Update that just to undo our tweakiness. So the first thing we need to do, well, obviously it's all CSS, right? So we need an overall CSS rule that says we want this page to be a bit snappy. So if we just inspect anything and we just open that up and go to our inspector view, we're going to put that property on the overall HTML. So let's create a new rule, and in there we will just simply put scroll snap type equals. There's a few options here. I'm not going to go into all of them, just covering this one general normal use case you need for this. And so we choose mandatory, but we need 2 parameters within this declaration. And that is, it's mandatory that we're going to be having some scroll snapping going on, but we also need to tell it which direction. So we need to add the second parameter of Y, which means the y-axis, the vertical axis. You can have, obviously you can have it snapping to the horizontal if that's your chosen methodology, but this is for general sort of vertical scrolling use case. Y-axis is what we want, so we'll put that in there. And of course nothing actually happens, we're just telling it kind of get ready for snapping at this point, CSS snapping. Look out for it. So let's copy that rule and go to our theme file, and I've got the theme file open here. This might be a child theme for you, or you might have a plugin where you're putting your CSS, or you might use a CSS plugin. Any of those is fine, but obviously never update your core theme files if they might be overwritten. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I've got a style CSS. Let's get down to the bottom of that and start a new little section for CSS scroll snap. And let's paste in our copied rule. That's our, and there literally is one other thing. Now remember, we need to snap it on these sections here, our main section. So we need to add something that we can target. We could target the cover class, or if you've got HTML, them as sections or what have you. But I'm going to put a class on all these covers, and we're going to go to our cover blocks individually, go to our advanced tab and add a class called snap scroll. And we'll just quickly copy it to our other covers, stick that class in there. Same with you, and advanced class. This is more over so we can get absolute control over what's snapping on the page rather than using the built-in HTML elements. Let's get that in there, update that. So we now should have on our front end, if we refresh that, yeah, we got our scroll type in there from the CSS. If we have a look for our scroll snap, we do have 4 of them. That's our different sections, our cover blocks. So let's add a bit of CSS to that main class, and it's literally one line and you're kind of there. The declaration we are looking for is snap align, and we want that to snap to the start. What that's basically saying is snap the start of this container to the top of the browser. Anyway, should we just see it in action? If we scroll back to the top now and do a little scroll, okay, Doesn't look like much is working because we've gone to the main section here, which you might not necessarily have as a snap, but then we scroll a tiny bit and, oh, hello, look at that. Look at that, isn't that lovely? Up and down, as snappy as can be. So let's grab that and copy that rule and get that in our CSS. All good. There's one thing that we got to note with scroll snap, and that is when you do a big scroll, like I've just done then on my, I'm using a trackpad to demo this, so it's a bit like a mobile screen as well, is that it'll jump over certain sections, and 9 times out of 10 you probably don't want that if you're implementing CSS scroll snap, because you kind of want folks to see the sections, whether they're going up or whether they're going down. See, it jumped on the way up there as well. So another single line of CSS is all we need. And we just need to tell the section to scroll, snap, stop, always. And this is essentially saying, I don't care how far you've scrolled or moved your mouse wheel or blah, blah, blah. I always want you to stop on the next one. Let's see how that works. So, yeah, it kind of looks normal. I'll try and do a bigger one. I did a much bigger scroll then, and it always will go to the next one, which is kind of cool. So let's get that in our CSS. There's one other thing, which is that if we had a header that was sticky, for example, I can just make this header sticky by simply adding to the header part the CSS position fixed. It's hiding behind the next section, so we'll put a Z index 99 on there. The fixed kills the width, so we'll put a width on there of 100%. And as we scroll down, yeah, that's all kind of like all working. But if we had, let me just copy that into the CSS. And if we had on, say, one of our covers, a situation where the content was at the top, that kind of thing, and we can mimic this with using the content position of our cover and put the content at the top, and we'll update that. And I'll just show you what I mean here. We'll give that a hard refresh. We're scrolling down, great, everything looks cool. We got a little problem because the snap is doing exactly what we told it to do, but we just need it to be a little more friendly. So let us get a little bit more CSS on our page. You can, of course, change the padding on the individual section, but there is a catch-all bit of CSS we can add to our rules here, which is on the main HTML scroll stuff. We'll have scroll padding top, and we put 80px on that, which is essentially the height of the header. Yours obviously may well be different. And you can see now, if we go to scroll up to the top, if we look at our scrolling now, yep, and we've got that kind of padding. So we've accommodated that use case. Anyway, it really is quite incredibly simple for you to add CSS scroll snap to your WordPress website. CSS gets better every year and is essential these days when you're block theming. And if you want another block theme specific tutorial, there's one there for you. But until next time, I shall see you later.